We have an exclusive first look at the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 today, along with news about its upgrades, so hit subscribe now and let's get started. The predecessor was released not long ago, and we recently saw the special edition with larger screens in a thinner shell, but thanks to information from an anonymous source, we now have a ton of information about the Z Fold 7. Now, it appears that there were some design prototypes, but the source claims that Samsung will maintain the F design largely unchanged with only a minor form factor change. The S series is moving toward a more rounded design, but it appears that the Fold will continue to have a squared-off design. I believe this is a wise decision because it sets the two models apart and allows the S phones to compete for customers. The larger Samsung phones have always remained a little more squared off, as we used to see with the Note before it was discontinued. AI will continue to play a major role in the promotion of the Z Fold 7, and Samsung is adding more AI features. However, it is likely that the release of the Z Fold 7 will mark the beginning of the paid subscription model for AI, of which Samsung has already warned us. The phone will be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4, and it is anticipated to have 16 GB of RAM in addition to the standard storage configurations. However, the biggest change with the Z Fold 7 will be in the cameras, as for the first time ever, we will see as the folding internal display because of advancements in under-panel technology, and it said that there is now enough space for face unlock in video calls. Of course, you can still use the external rear camera. The rear cameras will use the same configuration as the S25 Plus, which will be released in January. It consists of a 50-megap primary camera, a 12-megap ultra-wide, and a 10-megap telephoto, so it will essentially be the same setup as last year, though there will be some improvements to both the ultra-wide and the telephoto. Another significant improvement with the Z Fold 7 is the display, which will be brighter and more accurate on the cover and internal display alike. However, the Fold will be the most significant change, since the Z Fold series crease has been getting better every year. However, it's not as good as we've seen on some other devices, but fortunately that's about to change. According to reports, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 will completely remove that crease while maintaining its water resistance thanks to a new display protection and a modified hinge. As is customary with this kind of news, I'll let it be until I see it. Now, let's talk about the design. These renders are based on information I received from the source, who wishes to remain anonymous but is the same person who provided me with details on the Pixel 9 Fold design, back in February. 7 months before its release, but based on the information, the Z Fold 7 design is still quite comparable to its predecessor. The display is a little broader, though, and in my opinion, it's now the ideal size. The internal foldable display and the cover display now have under-panel cameras to provide full-screen viewing on both screens. Additionally, there have been some alterations made to the back. According to reports, the rear will only have the lenses sticking out of the rear panel rather than a race camera module. Its design appears to be a cross between the Z Fold 6 and the S24 Ultra. For those of you who are excited about the new Galaxy Z Fold 7, I'm going to go over the specs, design, and anticipated pricing to help you decide if it is worth it or not. I personally don't like these new camera rings, though, and I prefer the slimmer rings that we had in the past, but I'll hold off on making a decision until I see it in person. Of course, we're still in the early stages, so designs can change, but this gives us a good idea of what the new Z Fold 7 will look like. And let's get started. The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7-inch foldable 120Hz dynamic AMOLED display is anticipated to be brighter and more accurate than the previous model's display. It is shielded by Samsung's incredibly thin glass, which prevents creases in the middle of the display. It also has the standard HD resolution, trimmed-down bezels, and a full-screen display. The external display is a 6.4-inch 120Hz dynamic AMOLED fullscreen, and it will be even wider than its predecessor, which is fantastic to hear. S Pen support will be available for both displays. However, the S Pen will not be included in the Z Fold 7 and will be sold separately. As for the cameras, it is said to be the first foldable device with two under-panel cameras. The precise sensors are still unknown, but we anticipate that it will have a fourth 4-megapixel under-panel camera to help capture light. On the back, there is a triple camera setup that includes a 50-map primary camera, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 10-megapixel telephoto with 3 optical zooms. The camera system is similar to the previous model, though the ultra-wide and the telephoto camera will be improved. Display cameras on the cover display. The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 is scheduled to ship in July 2025 and is anticipated to start at around $1,900, which is equivalent to around £1,800 for the UK. It will be powered by the Snapdragon 88 Gen 4 along with 16 GB of RAM and up to 1 TB of storage, which will be UFS 4.1. It will also have a 4,500 mAh battery with upgrades to fast charging for both wide and wireless charging, as well as 5G Bluetooth 5.3 Wi-Fi 7 and NFC support. However, the comments indicate that most people want to see an upgrade to the camera system to something like a 200-mega primary camera, but it doesn't seem like that's ever going to happen due to internal space and cost, given the similarities to its predecessor. Though, it's probably not going to make anyone with a full 6 rush for an upgrade unless there is absolutely no crease in the center of that display. If Samsung can actually perfect the display and not only make it brighter but also get rid of that creasing in the center, then I believe it will be the ideal foldable phone. However, it's going to be a great option for anyone who has an early generation Fold or is looking to get their first Fold. Of course, launch is still a long way off, but a lot can change it in the interim. Of course, I'll be sharing any new information as soon as it becomes available, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything in the future.